Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of those people, I hope you enjoyed the conversation and thanks so much for coming back. But for those of you out there who are new to the show, welcome. Feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer and soda in the fridge. Cheers, my friend. You got anything to drink over there today?
Got some cold, man.
All right. That works. That's better than nothing. So I'm sitting here today. Let me take a sip real quick. Let the beat ride. I'm going to take a sip. A nice Sunday brew. I'm sitting here today with my dude coming on last minute. I appreciate you. Codi Newkirk of the band White Thrash. Make some noise for the internet, my dude. How you living, my friend?
Good, man. Good. Enjoying this nice Sunday. The sun's out, you know. I'm kind of avoiding the sun. I got a new tattoo.
Oh, okay.
Attracted to it, you know. But other than that, cleaning up the room, getting ready for a work week, you know, normal shit.
Yeah. What'd you get a tattoo of?
I got a possum, a thrash possum.
A thrash possum.
Yeah, he's got a sweet little vest on. I don't know if I can get him in here, but he's pretty cool. Tilt this thing down. He's playing guitar and he's super gnarly. Probably got raped.
That is so fucking sick. So I already mentioned it for anyone that doesn't know you. You do play in a band called White Thrash. You are a guitar player and you guys are a lot of fucking fun. I appreciate, just want to get this out here. I appreciate your unapologetic having funness that you guys have. I think it's something that's much needed nowadays in general, but particularly in the realm of heavy metal, because like I take heavy metal seriously, but also like if it's not fun, why the fuck would you even want to do it?
Right, man. It's like, you know, we are real unapologetic. I mean, not to say that it's a gimmick or anything. We are really nice dudes, but that's just how we run it, man. You know, we do what we want when we want, and you know, we try to keep it that way. I mean, we don't push out to hurt anybody's feelings or do anything, but we just kind of do our own thing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It's just like the old school punk bands. You know, I kind of always like the hardcore punk feel with the heavy metal riffs. You know what I mean? It's like the crossover thing, anarchy. It's good.
Yeah. Like early Metallica before they got too good at ripping. You know?
Yeah.
Before someone was like, let's put an acoustic guitar in here.
Yeah, but before they were like, all right, let's write this.
Yeah, nothing against any of that. You know, obviously I love that shit, but
yeah. I mean I'm a riff heavy dude, you know. Like I play a little bit of leads. I can do the shreddy stuff to an extent, but I worship the riff in that groove, you know. It's just like we like the fast, you know, almost like you want to run off the stage type riff. It's just our bag.
Absolutely, man. So what can you tell me just about like your start, like getting into metal and guitar and all that shit? Was there like anything in particular that was like, this is fucking it, man?
Yeah, man. My dad and my uncle were in a cover band, and believe it or not, it was actually a country band.
Okay.
But it was music, so I dug it. My uncle had a real deep voice. He could sing real good, and my dad can just about play anything on guitar. Well, when I got old enough to start playing guitar, my dad was jamming a lot of rock and roll. I mean, I think he always did, but maybe I noticed it more. And it was Van Halen, man. It was Kiss. I found my dad's old Kiss records and like Van Halen 1984, and it was a wrap from there. And then my uncle, you know, my uncles were like into Megadeth. My uncle Kurt was really big into Megadeth and had like, you know, skull, spiderweb tattoos. You know, it was just like metal was always so cool. And my mom she was cool. She liked me playing guitar. It had a volume knob. I could put my headphones on, you know. She was real into it. I never really got censored musically, so I could push it hard in the metal, you know, album covers. My mom, as long as she knew I wasn't like taking the Cannibal Corpse album cover seriously, I could listen to whatever I wanted.
Yeah, I have a really similar background because, you know, I'm turning 35 this year, and my parents were like really young when they had me, like 17, 18. So when I was like, you know, 4 or 5, my dad's like 23, 22. And like, you know, he was all into like Metallica and Megadeth. And he had a couple Cannibal Corpse tapes laying around in the tape thing. I remember like looking at the Tomb of the Mutilated cassette tape when I was a kid and just being like, this is the scariest thing I ever saw. Like putting it back and like not opening up not like looking at that for like a really long time.
Right, like this is like I remember CC when I seen that stuff. I think it was Slayer, Show No Mercy. You know, I seen that album cover and I was like, and I loved it. I was like, I had to have it. You know what I mean? Like everything super from the artwork to the and I caught.
Yo, your audio cut out. Hey, Cody. Yo, Cody.
Old.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I was saying the audio cut out for a second. So whatever you just said about the Slayer album cover went away, but you're back. So let's talk about that again real quick.
No, either way, the Show No Mercy album cover just got me, man. I love that. That was just so rad to me. It stuck out to me. I had to just be around it all the time. That and the music, the riffs, everything when I was young just kind of stuck out because my parents were musical, you know, so I paid attention to the riffs and the tone and everything was a big deal. And then Cowboys from Hell, that album kind of sealed the deal. It was like Phil's vocals, which I love all Pantera, but like that later stuff got real dark. His vocals really weren't that. Some songs it did it for me, but some it did, you know, it really didn't. I like the 80s Phil. And that was it, man. That sealed the deal. I mean, I was into metal from that point on. I mean, I listen to a lot of hip hop. I love a lot of music in general, reggae, stuff like that. But I love metal. You know, cutting trees. Like I cut down trees for a living. So you can just rip into giant trees with chainsaws and listen to like, you know, whatever you want. And it's good for that.
Are we around the same age? Are you in your 30s?
Yeah, I'm 32.
Okay, cool. All right. So we come from like a pretty similar background where like, I think like what radio music was when we were like kids, like it was like cool to like everything, you know, like it wasn't weird when I was in like, you know, grade school and middle school to like, you know, like Blink-182 and Slipknot and Rage Against the Machine or Orgy or Linkin Park, like all that like radio stuff was so varied, but it wasn't weird to like all of it.
It wasn't, man. I remember, you know, I would go from listening to Snot and listening to Seven Dust, you know, and then I would switch over to listening to like Napalm Death and you know, even get into like I even listened to Ace of Base. Like I was raised by a single mom for the most part. I mean, my dad was always out, but like my mom listened to cool shit and I would get into it, you know. All that. If it had a beat and I could bob my head to it and find the knock in it, I dug it, period. I really didn't care what it was. And then like in high school, I started playing in metal bands and starting bands and stuff. And it was like people would hang out with me and be like, dude, I can't.
That audio's cutting out again. I'm not too sure why it's doing it. Can you hear me at all?
I can't hear you.
Okay, now it's back.
Okay, now we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, my internet says it's full bore. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, let me make sure it's not me. Yeah, I mean, I'm supposedly connected as well, so I don't know.
Yeah, mine says strong signal. I don't know. Maybe today.
It's all good. Let's just keep let's keep rolling with it. So in terms of like, you know, all the heavy metal and playing guitar, when did you finally get to start playing in bands? And what was it like actually writing songs versus like, you know, just like learning songs that you loved growing up?
My best friend in high school, man, he was a drummer. He was taking drum lessons at a music store, and they were older than me. They were in my sister's grade, and I thought they were so cool because they listened to all the same music I did. And I would skateboard with them from time to time, but I really wasn't in the clique. Well, one day they were talking about jamming, and I had already been playing guitar for years. So I got the invite to go over, and I think I ripped on like some Master of Puppets and played some old Death tunes or something. Yeah. And they were, I was in the club, and they were my best friends. Well, my buddy that was the drummer, he ended up playing guitar with me, and he is still to this day one of the most creative dudes I ever met. John Tani's his name, by the way. He'll probably see this later. He'll get a kick out of this. But it was cool, and he was so creative. He would write these riffs, and when he would show me riffs, it would really bring something out of me. I'd be like, okay, I see how he's doing it, because I didn't have any theory training. I really didn't know much but bar chords, and it was just like finding what sounded good. So we just started writing tons of music at like 14, 15, and just stayed in the band. And we probably played in the basement for 2 years, and then started playing in Kent State, the Robin Hood, Screwy Louie's, Akron, up in Akron at the Voodoo, and Cleveland, Peabody's. All those bands were big at the time, Mushroom Head, Chimera. So the scene was strong, and that's where it started. And then I moved down here to cut trees and joined a punk band. And was in a punk band for a little bit, met Danny, the drummer in White Thrash, and me and him clicked at such a fast-paced level that we just, when the punk band was falling apart, we had just kind of decided to get thrashy, and I always played music. Even when I wasn't in a band, I still was writing songs and doing stuff. I got Fruity Loops on my computer. I make rap beats when I'm bored, just like completely just whatever, that would be creating.
No doubt. No doubt. I'm curious, I'm always interested when I'm talking with like metal dudes, especially guitar players. As you got into writing songs and playing in bands, was there anything that you grew an appreciation for as a musician that maybe like when you were younger you didn't get or just didn't give a fuck about? Like, did like learning how to write and play change your mind about any artists?
Oh my goodness, so much, man, so much. I used to be such if the riff wasn't there, I was just like, whatever. But constructing a song is really hard, and it's almost harder to do with less.
The shit cut out again. I think we just got to be patient and wait for it to come back. Let's keep rolling with it. Let's keep rolling with it. Man. It ain't bad. There it is. There it is. It just seems like it happens every few minutes. That's cool. All right, so writing songs.
Yeah, but just what were we talking about? Writing songs?
We're talking about like
it's just like, those old blues players, their solos are pentatonic scale, real easy, but the feeling and the note expression in them things and really putting into a song more than ability is what I grew respect for.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can shred, you're fast, but make me feel something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that type of thing I grew a lot more respect for as I started writing more music. I was just kind of like, wow, it takes more than ability to actually be a good musician. I mean, you have to be able to make people feel things or you're hit.
Absolutely, dude. I say this all the time that like, music is it's a language, right? Everybody's a cliche, but it's a conversation between you and the person listening to it. And if the person doesn't understand the language that you're speaking, how long do you expect them to listen? That's like, if you're just wanking on guitar all the time, like some people can appreciate it a bit, but to some degree, like you need to be able to connect, and that nuance of just feeling is so much more important to me in music over technicality pretty much any day.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like it really is like that's why I love the blues and I love older rock and roll, you know what I mean? Because just with some bar chords and, a nice catchy chorus, really would make a song what it is. Some of my favorite songs ain't nothing but four chords and a nice guitar solo, and that's changed over time. When I was younger, it was like it had to be ripping guitar solos and blast beats and gutturals. And now I like, I like clean vocals a little more. I like, vocal harmonies, just stuff I never really paid attention to when I was younger.
Dude, it's so funny. I've been like spending the past few days just for no particular reason, but just going back and like listening to all these albums that I haven't listened to since like high school.
Yeah.
And like a lot of metal stuff, because like I've gone through all these weird phases of, like basically like growing up with the Metallica and the Megadeth and all that stuff. And then, like Green Day, Dookie came out. So it's like, of course, then I go into my whole punk phase, skateboarding around, all the Epitaph Records bands, all that shit. And then like Dillinger Escape Plan happened. And then then it's all chaos from there. Then I'm like listening to weird math rock and weird grindcore for a long time. And then, but then like now, like I've been like going back and I've like spent like pretty much the past week listening to nothing but like Nevermore and Dark Tranquility and like all this like progressive thrashy stuff. And I'm like, fuck, man, like I haven't listened to these albums in 10 years and they're so fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that happened to me, like after we played that show with you guys, a band, and you guys rocked it. And like, I always loved Darkest Hour, and like you guys like reminded me of them. Not like, these dudes sound like Darkest Hour, but like these dudes had that feeling of, you know what I mean? Like, and I pulled up, what's that album? I listened to it like the whole next week after we jammed with you guys, just because it felt good to like listen to that again. I forgot all about that album. And I think it was
it Hidden Hands or Deliver Us?
No, the one with Sound of Surrender and Low and I can't remember the name of it now. It's got Sound of Surrender,
Human
Low.
Romance? No. I'm bad at album titles.
Me too. I'm terrible because I just listened
to early one, like So Sedated. Is it an older one? All this stuff it doesn't really matter. But
yeah, it blends into my mind. But I found out about that album, and then I found the Misery Signals album again. Just a lot of that stuff. Like Candiria 300% Density. Totally forgot about that band, and then I was on like a Century Media thing reading on my phone and was like, oh, I dug out. I still had 300% Density. That's a great album. Candiria blew my mind. It was like, just another album to get tripped out on again after 15 years,
It's so wild, like, as we're not getting any younger, but like, all these, like, so many albums that like have shaped my existence are like all turning 20.
Yeah.
I think White Pony is the most recent one. I've been seeing a lot of people posting about that, and that's 20 years old now.
Dude, the Deftones albums were pretty amazing. They're almost mood albums. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love the Deftones, but I can't just fire them up and listen to them. It's almost like I have to fall into that Deftones mood, which is a great mood. I love it, but it's like one of those things that we just talked about. You forget about them for a little bit, and then you stumble on them again, and it's great.
Yeah, dude. There's too many fucking bands.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, why do we do this?
That's true, man. I have thought about that. I've reached points in my like creativity where I'm like, what am I doing? Like I've done that, but then there's nothing else I'd rather do. Like it's almost like when you do music and you of course you set goals for yourself, but I'm having fun right now. You know what I mean? It could go no bigger than this for me and I would still be having a blast. So that's one of the reasons why I continue to do it, just because it's fun.
I feel you, dude. I've been of the mindset over the past couple years where it's like, for me, it's not about like making it. It's just about like meeting people like you and like, like connecting with other humans and like, finding a way in my mid-30s to still find new motherfuckers that like the same dumb shit that I do.
Exactly, man.
And how else can I do it? It's just like, we drive to a venue out in the middle of nowhere, scream in a basement, and the people that are there are probably cool. That's how you make friends.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And that's the perfect way to go about it. Like, I love those. You know, like I remember we played in Columbus somewhere, and it was empty, you know, but we had such a good time kicking it with the other bands. And I don't think that they had expected that. They were all kind of bummed at first, but we were like, dudes, we're away from home. It's good to meet you guys. You know, let's hang out. You know what I mean? Let's have fun for the 8 people that are here or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? I had a blast either way, you know?
Yeah. So that's a funny tie-in into everything that we're dealing with now. And, you know, the whole COVID-19 end of the world pandemic stuff, you know, everybody's, you know, sweating that, you know, we won't be able to play shows with like more than 50 people. I'm like, motherfucker, when have I ever played a show with more than 50 people anyways?
Right. Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, I think that it will all come back. I mean, I do have a little bit of faith in humans. I mean, I hope that they can pull it together, but you see some of this stuff now and it's just like hard to watch. It's like, dude, what are we doing? You know, like the dudes that don't want to wear the mask to go in the convenience store for 2 minutes to get a gator. But just put your mask on. You know what I mean? And
it's like these motherfuckers have such a fragile ego that they just can't respect their neighbors.
Right.
But at the same time, these will be these people that are all like, you know, all about like, oh, community, we need to come together and blah, blah, blah. But it can't affect me.
Right.
It's just like, for me, it's like, you know, I've been pretty vocal about like, you know, I don't think we need to be fucking wearing masks, but I will wear one just because I am a respectful member of society and it's not that big of a fucking deal.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like, you know, I'll bet that lady behind the register or that guy behind the register, he doesn't want to wear that mask either. And I don't want to wear it, but you know what, bro, if you got to wear it and I'm just coming in there to get my coffee and my Gatorade before I go cut trees, I'm going to wear it. You know, I wear it more for the employees than I do me. They don't like watching, you know, I've been that guy. You get petty mad when you're at work, you know, and people just walk in without their mask on and they're like, dude, my boss has almost fired me 6 times today because I ain't had my mask over my nose. You just come in here with your t-shirt on. Like, you know, I just seem to comply just to keep it moving, man. You know, no ripples. Keep it smooth.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, you know, people arguing about freedoms and all that stuff. And like, I get it, but also like, tone it fucking down. Like, you know, I haven't, like, half these motherfuckers, I haven't heard them like talk about anything or fight for anything ever, and now all of a sudden the mask is the thing. It's like, okay, there's plenty of other things going on right now that we could be putting energy into. Just wear the fucking mask, dude. But you know, in regards to the shows, like, you know, we have Greywalker has a couple shows already booked, like end of July, early August. Stuff's happening. We're playing in Akron somewhere, and then we're playing out. Yeah.
Where at up there? That's where I'm from.
I mean, know what, dude? I don't know the name of the fucking club because I wasn't handling the correspondence on it. I just know that we're going to Akron.
It's the Empire, man. The Empire is an awesome venue in Akron. They got a gear caddy, helps you carry your gear in. They got a nice backstage, super nice stage, really nice sound. That's a great venue up there.
I'll have to look into it. Maybe I'll look that up now. So in terms of like, you know, the band and everything with what you guys are doing, I guess let me pull this up now because I got your little band picture pulled up here. I could show it off real quick. So White Thrash is the band that you're playing in right now. You got a bunch of handsome gentlemen in this band with you. And you know, what have you guys been up to? You practicing at all? You got anything coming up?
Man. Yeah, we practice once a week. You know, sometimes me and the drummer meet up, or me and Kyle Skype a lot. We're on it. We got another record written. You know, we're working on kind of 2 at the same time right now, which is a bit weird creatively, of course.
Okay.
But we're still writing, man. We're going hard. We're gonna try and get our next album out before the year's kaput. But we'll see. I want to do a little bit more production this time. Doing a little bit more pre-pro. We're going to delve in.
Uh-oh. The audio cut out real quick. This is the the universal audio cutout symbol right here. But while we wait for that to come back in, since I don't know why it's not fucking working.
Try and make it a little fuller.
All right. The audio cut out that whole time that you were talking again, but I got your Bandcamp page pulled up here with the stuff that you've released so far to date. And,
I don't know if everything is on the Bandcamp.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know if both albums are on there or not.
It looks like there's only one on here. Is everything else on Spotify or some shit?
Everything else is on like Apple Music, Spotify.
Okay.
Poser Exposure isn't on Bandcamp, but it's on everything else. We got to fix that.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, you can find this music, and you were just talking about the production on the new stuff. You just want to get more into the production on that.
Yeah, man. We just want to get more into it, see what we can really get out of ourselves. You know what I mean? We're kind of pushing all of ourselves real hard on this album, and we're real pumped. We're naming it Slam Barbecue. Your classic trailer park showdown. It's going to be a good one, man. It's got some longer songs on it. I'm sure people aren't expecting that from us. Our songs are pretty short crossover tune, but we got some longer ones on there, some real heavy ones on there. It's going to be killer.
That's exciting. I think that it's cool that you guys are still okay, well, we're going to find a way to, move forward and grow as a band, because you don't want to write just the fucking same songs over and over again,
Right. Which is easy to do. I mean, that's, if you rush it, you end up kind of pushing the thing, and then you end up rewriting the same songs. I probably threw away an album before I started bringing the new tunes in, just because I was being so harsh on myself. And I know Kyle was doing the same thing as well, just breaking these riffs down. So yeah, we're just going to take our time with it. And when we come out, it's going to be the best we could do. We're pretty excited.
That's what's up. I'll tell you this. I think it's a goddamn national tragedy that we've only played one show together. I just want to throw that out there real quick.
Yeah, we hopefully everything gets pumping and we get a nice jump. People. Hopefully this makes people appreciate what they were missing. Some people go to shows and then they quit going, and then the minute they can't go, they're sitting at home in quarantine and they're like, "Man, I'd kill to go to a show." So I'm hoping that these next years after this bring a nice little spike to our community, kind of bump up attendance, bump up the creativity and the content that's coming out. I look for it to be more positive than negative.
100%. So I actually pulled up, we're playing at a place in Akron called the Vortex.
Oh, dude, the Vortex used to be a strip club. That's funny. I've played the Vortex. That's a pretty cool club. It's like a heavy metal club now. It used to be a strip club called Ecstasy.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's the one, but it's cool, man. It's a great venue.
All right, word. Well, that's where we're gonna be doing the thing. I'm excited. I'm gonna ask where the titties are at as soon as I walk in there, I guess.
Yeah, bust in there and be like, "Where them titties at now?" I might have to come to that show, man. When is that?
July 31st. Yeah.
Yeah.
All ages, doors 6, show 7, free pool. They have free pool there? They got pool tables?
Game on.
Yeah, we're playing with a band. We're playing with, let me see here. Who the fuck are we playing with? We're playing with Treffine? I don't know how to pronounce that. I think we played with them before at West Side Bowl, and they were pretty cool. And then a band called Daggers, and another band that has a logo on this flyer that I cannot read.
Unreadable.
Yeah, let me see if it was in the message here. Are you still connected with any bands from that area?
Not really, man. The bands that I played with a long time ago don't really jam anymore. There was like a death metal band named Shotgun Sodomy. Bands like Hate Theory, which I don't know if they're still doing their thing. Okay. So not really. I mean, there's a couple bands up in Cleveland that we've made friends with. We jammed with the Assault guys. Dead Earth is up there. We jammed with them. Nervous Aggression is in Ohio, but they're kind of more Columbus. So not really.
It looks like the logo that I can't read was a band called Paradox Rift.
Sounds cool, man.
Yeah, it's really funny, like how often the bands will rotate out. Like if you just like don't play shows for 6 months, it's a whole different thing.
There's like new bands, you know, you're like, whoa.
And I feel like that's not unique to any city. Even in Pittsburgh, that's a thing, because my buddy Jake, who plays in Postmortal Possession, hit me up. He asked us to play a show that we couldn't do, but he was like, do you know of any bands? Like, I don't know anybody that's playing. And I was like, fuck, I don't know. Like, yeah, right. Shit, dude. But yeah, so.
Yeah, we got shows booked too. Like we got Horrid Fest August 1st at the Subalpine. And I want to say August 22nd, we're headed to Fort Wayne, Indiana. I mean, I'm still waiting to kind of hear back on that, but I haven't heard that it's kaputs. So, you know, we'll see.
So when it comes to, you know, a band like White Thrash, who is, again, self-aware, a lot of fun, but simultaneously you take what you do very seriously, you know. How does you and your homies balance like party and being serious?
Well, you know, we kind of look at it like practice is like work. I mean, we are real good buds. We really don't argue at all. We get to jamming pretty swell. So the work is almost like not work, at least not yet. I mean, we're only like 3 or 4 years deep. We really haven't been a band that long. But you know, it's pretty easy for us to separate. We're not really huge partiers. You know, we party at shows, you know, we'll drink at shows,
sure,
and hang out. But at practice, man, we're just so on the content. You know, we're so on just beating it down and getting it right. That's almost fun. That's almost a party for us in general. You know, let's push the BPMs. We like BPM parties. You know, how many beats per minute?
Dude, I love that. Yeah, we're with Greywalker, we were actually supposed to be recording like this week. But that isn't happening now, obviously, because we couldn't practice for like 2 months.
Right.
But now we are practicing again regularly, and we're hammering in this new stuff. Hopefully going to do pre-production in the next couple weeks, and then hopefully we'll still be able to get into the studio. I think instead of a full length at this point, we're just going to do an EP, because like everything that's going on, we just want to kind of get something out faster. And like also like I'm an album guy, but I know everybody else these days really isn't. So maybe it's kind of a waste of time to put out a full length these days. I don't know. What are your feelings on that?
You know what, man, I go back and forth. I have often thought about just recording like as much as I can, like 2 albums worth of stuff, and then releasing several EPs. And then I've also gone through like, no, I'm just going to put this out, you know, I'm just going to put this album out. But you're right. People seem to cater more towards the, you know, your 3-4 song EP or whatever else. I just think the album reigns supreme. I like albums. I think it's more of a complete project. It's you know,
yeah. As an artist, I totally agree with you. But like as a listener, it's like even like going back and listening to like these old albums that I was telling you about, like I'm listening to like the first 5 or 6 songs, and it's like, well, now I'm getting out of the car. Now I'm going, I'm doing this, you know, and I don't have like a whole like 40 fucking minutes to dedicate to shit anymore. So it's like, if I can't do that, even with stuff that I love to death, it's like, how am I going to convince people that are either my friends or that barely know me to listen to more than 15 or 20 minutes of my fucking band?
And see, that's almost how I gauge how I listen. Like the albums that I can listen to from front to back, I own on vinyl, because I'm not skipping songs. I'm not jumping tunes. I'm listening to that album from front, you know, from top to bottom. So you just play it on the vinyl, you know, but I as a listener, I agree with you. I do a lot of jumping around. I'll jump from here to, from this to that to, you know, I don't know. That's a good one. You know?
Yeah. And I think that it's really important to acknowledge your own behavior as a listener in order to understand how other listeners are.
Yep. Very true.
Yeah, it's just
something you don't remember to think like either. When you're it's hard to not be selfish when you're thinking about your content. You know, you're making an album or whatever. You get so jonesed out. You're like, let's put it out right now. Let's get this. You know, it's hard to bide yourself and not just think about what you want. You know, got to slow down every once in a while and be like, well, what do our fans want? You know, what do they? What do we think they would want? You know?
Yeah. Do you feel like you guys are like in a position where like you have fans that you need to like cater to, or do you just feel like you're more or less just have like a big group of friends?
We just kind of look at it as like a general, you know, if somebody was to hear us or we were to come on their Spotify or whatever, you know, would that fit? You know, would we fit?
The audio's out again. God damn it.
I think we have seas of people that love our band for sure, you know what I mean? But we do kind of look at it like they are there. It's good to think of it like there are people because someday there could be. So if you think like that, you're almost kind of ready for it.
I like that attitude. So outside of music, is there anything that you are like obsessed with or anything that you put a lot of time into outside of playing guitar?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm an arborist. You know, I'm a huge like nerd. Like I love trees, photosynthesis, meristematic activity. I'm all about all sorts of, you know, biology. But I really love 90s BMX bikes. I freaking love BMX, dude. Like I have so many BMX bikes. My nephew's into them. I get him cranked up on them and build and wrench on them. And I'm part of a cool little BMX club in Pittsburgh, and we ride around. It's a bunch of older guys. I just, you know, I like the 90s. Let's say that. I was born in '88. I love Pogs and baseball cards and comic books and BMX bikes and all that.
No shit. So yeah, like I had my extreme sports days as a youth. You know, I have a bike. It's not a BMX bike. I have a bike that I ride a lot. I used to skate when I was a kid, but I didn't keep up with any of that shit. I actually had a really bad arm break when I was a little younger. I had a double compound fracture in this arm, and it looked like the letter Z, you know, from the American alphabet.
Yeah.
And that happened when I was like maybe 11. And after that, dude, I could never like go hard. Like I could never escape that. Yeah. Because I broke my arm skating when I was a kid, and then like I just never let it go. Maybe I'm a little bitch. I don't know.
I was the same way, man. Like the one thing I liked about bikes was just like wrenching on them and cruising them around because bikes look cool. I always thought that was cool when I was a kid, and that's how you got around. But like we were into skateboarding, and the minute we all started the band, it was like, all right, we're done breaking ankles and getting chased off of church properties. You know, let's go get someone to buy some beer and go rip on these guitars. It was pretty much a no-brainer. Now, I love skateboarding. I think it's rad. I think professional extreme athletes are just awesome, but I don't have the courage to do that. And I'm a tree climber, so like I don't get too wild, man. My job is dangerous enough as it is, so I gotta watch my hobbies. I can't be out breaking bones.
Yeah,
and, missing work.
My dad worked at an auto body shop for a large majority of the time, and he got really into building lowrider bikes.
Yeah,
and and he built me this super sick Schwinn lowrider when I was a kid with like the high rise banana seat, and he fucking he took the frame into the auto body shop and painted it like the sick green with car paint and like did the whole fucking thing up. I have no fucking idea where that fucking bike is now. I wish I still fucking had it. There was a lot of weird shit that happened with like my family when I was a teenager, and you know, I don't really talk to them anymore, but yeah. Anyways, stuff was cool for a while when I was a kid, for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a little bit of that probably in all of our childhood, you know.
Yeah.
I've lost so many bikes, you know, having them here, having them there, and then never going back there. And it's, which is cool, you know, because I got a nephew and he's real into the bikes. That's what got me back into it, he was wanting bikes. And so I was like, man, I'll cruise with you. And I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I need that exercise. Like I hit a bike ride every morning before work, you know.
No shit.
Yeah, sometimes in the evenings, man, get the blood flowing, throw the headphones on, and just cruise. You know, it really is a good thing.
Fuck, man. Like, what was it like, you know, being a young human being and discovering that you are a type 1 diabetic? Like, what kind of a shift was that for your life, dude? That's nuts.
It was pretty whack, man. I was like 9 years old, and no kid at 9 years old wants to be told he can't trick or treat anymore. Which that being said, I did. You know, I trick or treated still, and then sold my candy at the bus stop.
Oh fuck! Hell yeah!
Not even kidding. It was great. It was just it sucked. You know, it definitely sucks to have to quit playing. You know, hey guys, I got to go home and test my sugar and take my shot, and hopefully my sugar's good so I can come back outside and play.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of a pain, but that threw me more into my guitar. When my sugar would be high and my mom would kind of want me to stay around the house so she could, you know, make sure I was okay, I could just pound my guitar and she could keep an eye on me and I would be okay with that, you know? So it was good. Plus my friends were real supportive. You know, not all type 1 diabetics are saints. It's hard to not eat potatoes and candy, and you know, you have those times when you
can't eat potatoes.
You're not supposed to. I can. I can eat just about anything I want, but potatoes, carbohydrates, it's such a harsh carbohydrate, man. It attacks your body so tough.
Sure.
So I eat more of like rice or quinoa.
Yeah, like what is your diet like?
You know, I changed it up quite a bit here recently. For like the last couple months, I don't eat a lot of bread afternoon. I don't eat too many potatoes anymore, you know, unless I'm hitting it hard. I do a big tree or jamming. Sometimes jamming takes it out of me and I can get a nice meal after that. But the diet's pretty much rice, meat, and some broccoli and cauliflower, you know.
You keep it pretty simple.
Keep it pretty simple, you know. That's the best way. The main thing for a lot of diabetics is you don't necessarily have to beat the diet over your head. You can more or less just eat. If you started eating at the same time every day, and getting your body used to a medication rotation or schedule, it does a lot for you. So, and I've lucked out because my job's real physical. So I'm working all day. I get a lot of exercise, which is good for me. You know, the diet is definitely tricky because there's days I'm just like, man, I want a large fry and 6 cheeseburgers, and it's not always possible, you know.
Yeah, I imagine it's probably a bit of a nightmare on the road, like, if you're ever playing shows out of town and doing shit like that.
Right, and it is, you know, and all the guys in White Thrash know, you know, they know what to do if anything was to happen, but I owe it to them to pretty much make sure that it doesn't. So I try to stay on top of it. You know what I mean? So we've never really traveled too far. We went to Buffalo and played a show. You know, we haven't really toured yet, but I'm ready for it when it happens. You know, I'm not going to really let, you know, an insulin shot take me.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. So that's fucking wild, man. Like I've been pretty, I guess lucky through the course of my days to not have to worry too much about like what I'm eating here or there. There's nothing weird with me aside from the fact that, like, you know, I drink too much beer and then I gain weight and then I can't fucking play a half-hour set without feeling like a fucking pile of shit.
Right.
Cause like, dude, I didn't like really drink at all until I was like 23. So like there was this really weird shift because like from the time that I was like 17 to like, you know, my mid 20s playing shows, I was like, you know, energy, run around. Yeah. And now it's like, I can't fucking do it anymore. Is it just me getting old, or do I just need to like stop eating like a fucking asshole?
I'll tell you, man, my diet when I switched it, you know, and that took a lot of help. You know, my girlfriend she like took the dive with me. She was like, you know what, I'll quit eating potatoes too, and I'll start eating more rice, and that was sweet. But when I started eating better, man, my shoulders started feeling better from work. My hands were moving better. I always had a little tightness in my hands. And when I started eating better and kind of taking care of myself and doing more exercise outside of work, because, you know, calling work exercise is not, it's not really, because your mind state isn't there. But once I started doing that, man, I really got to feeling a lot better, to where I can act up more on stage. I almost get more energy living a little right, you know, a little better on stage than I do wasted. You know, I've headbanged so many sets, trashed, and then after that, you're toast. You know, you're like, oh, you can't even talk to kids that love your music. You're like, oh man, I'm beat, you know, and I just like it, you know. And then I get a lot of flack because sometimes I put my hair up in the man bun, and I'm big on the White Claws. The White Claws have 1 gram of sugar and 1 carbohydrate, which is great for me. I can drink those without harming myself. So I get a little bit of those in, and it can still spunk myself up. But eating better and changing my diet, man, put my joints and tendons, and it made everything feel better. So I can act up a little more.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. Like, I am all for the hard seltzers, especially at shows. Like, if you want to have a drink at a show, like, there really is not a better option, because some of those things have enough alcohol in you to like get you a decent buzz, but you still feel light. And it's not like an aggressive liquor drunk, and it's not like a sluggish beer drunk. It's just like I'm good.
Yeah, it's like, this is nice, you know, it's like a clean drunk almost, you know. I used to get bent on the whiskey, which is terrible for diabetics, but I used to get bent on that, and it was like, I'd feel great and I'd be all outgoing, but it was like so heavy, you know. It was almost like a dirty buzz. You'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm whiskey drunk, I'm going to spin a little bit now, you know. But those White Claws, you wake up, you don't have a nasty hangover or anything, and it's just easier for the diabetes. You know, you drinking beer, that's all carbohydrates and everything else, more shots, more sugar testings, and the White Claws are perfect.
Yeah, the thing that I've had to come to understanding more recently is, like, I think I spent a large majority of my time drinking beer being very ignorant to the fact that there's a lot of sugar in beer that I never really thought about. And like, I don't really fuck with sugar at all. So when I'm drinking, it's like, I don't eat a whole lot of candy, and I don't eat a whole lot of like sweet stuff and anything like that. But when I'm drinking beer, like, I'll be drinking a good bit of beer, and it all has a ton of like sugars in it. And it's probably like fucking me up on this level that my brain was never really even considering. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I used to drink so much beer that my face would sweat. You know, my cheeks would get all shiny. You know, it's like eating too much Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah, you know, it's like once you get to where you want to be, you're weighed down. You know, so it didn't take much for me to get out of the beer. Now I still like a nice IPA or something every once in a while. I really like Blue Moon, but it's carb heavy, so not only does it have sugar in it, but every bit of that carbohydrates just turn it into sugar.
Yeah, I think that there's something about, you need to fucking like balance it. Like, I think the thing that makes a beer good is like when I feel like I've worked for it. Like, you know, I've worked all day, or I played a show, and like now I could fucking have a beer or two and feel good about it. Like a nice relaxing thing. But just like a beer for the sake of a beer, like ruins all, like everything that's kind of great about having a beer.
Yeah, like like a hard day at work, a cold beer is great. You know what I mean? But like to just be like, man, I'll have a beer. It's like there's got to be something about that beer. It's an IPA, or I'm not to just grab a Busch Light out the fridge type of guy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I will say this. I think that we were talking about band practice and like how your band practice is a little more like professional and playing. We have a bit of an issue because Evan is a brewer. So like every week when we're at practice, it's like, yo, we did this week, and he's always bringing stuff in. It's like, okay, well, I guess we'll have a beer, and it's like, fuck, like I'm happy to do it, but also like, fuck. But like it's so much access to it.
That'll get you into trouble, man. My stepbrother works for a place that sells like brewing kits for wine and beer. Well, a couple years ago, I got a wine kit for me and my girlfriend. Now, I made 38 bottles of wine, and I was like, wow, this was probably a bad thing. Of course, the wine was good, but it was made out of strawberries and super high in sugar, and that stuff becomes like a ritual, I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I smoke a lot of weed, you know what I mean? So that's a constant thing, for
Audio cut out. The audio's out again.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Your video froze too.
All right. Well, it's back. We were talking about weed.
Yeah, weed is tight. It's good for me, man. It doesn't. I've been at it for so long that like I don't get the super munchies, and I know what to munch on, and it's good. That's about the band practice catering. Danny will bring some nice Modelo's every once in a while. Those are kind of good. I have one of those. Sometimes I got some Trulies in there or something. Sometimes it's nice. You can't always be at band practice just pounding each other over, time signatures and riffs and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's good to loosen up.
Yeah.
So
for me, I find that because we practice usually during the week. And we all work during the day, so it'll be like after all of us have put in fucking 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours, depending on the day,
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, now we need to be in this relaxed, calm state to fucking be creative and write and be in a good fucking mood. And it could be really, really fucking hard to get yourself in that mindset. But, sometimes a couple beers, or cause I don't smoke, but everybody else in the band is into it. So they'll do their thing. Maybe I'll have a drink, and then it levels us out. But it's also a fine line, because you might drink a little bit too much or smoke a little bit too much, and all of a sudden it's like now we're just watching fucking dumb videos on YouTube for 3 hours and not fucking doing anything.
We'll see. Like a while back, I started calling band practice church. Just because, for me, and I think the other guys in the band too, that's what it is. We look forward to it all week. It really is a stress dump. We all got crazy jobs. Things all get crazy, and we look forward to church every week. Now, of course, we don't go to real church. We're not religious guys at all. But that's our church. We look forward to seeing each other and busting our little funny jokes and, that whole deal. So as long as we look at it like, hey, man, it's church day. We're going to church today. We try to look at it like that instead of like, oh, we're headed to practice. It's just we're going to church. It's a place where you meet with other like-minded individuals and you worship your craft, church, baby.
I feel you on that. I feel like I was like, as a kid, I had a lot more of a shitty outlook about people that were religious, but as I've gotten older, I've like stopped giving much of a shit. 'Cause it's like, yo, we all need something to get through this. And not everybody has fucking heavy metal. For some people it is just the Bible or whatever. And like, who the fuck am I to be like, fuck you? Because you have something that makes you feel good.
Yeah, man, I'm all for that. Whatever makes someone's happy, whatever makes one individual happy is cool with me, whether it opposes me or not. You know what I mean? I really enjoy people being happy. That's what it's all about. I don't break anybody's neck when I'm at a party and they're like, "Ooh, Jesus, this," or yeah, hey, man, I'm happy for you. You found that thing that's good.
Yeah. And I mean, to some degree, I mean, it's hard to even get into this, and I don't even want to, but I'm just going to throw this out there and we can just cut it off from there. But that's how I feel politically too, with so much stuff that's going on too. It's just whatever, you think is good for you and your family, go for it. There's definitely some stuff that I will push back against, but I mean, whatever side of the fucking political spectrum you're on, if you think that it's right for you and the people that you care about and you're taking care of everything around you, dude, whatever is right for you, honestly.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. As long as every, I love that. What's the name of that movie with Will Ferrell where he coaches the basketball team, semi-pro?
Okay.
And he's like, hey, man, everybody love everybody. You know what I mean? For just the decency of everybody, just generally appreciate another human's life. You know what I mean? Regardless of what they do, that the world's lost track of that quite a bit.
Yeah, because I know seems like there's way too many motherfuckers out there that all think they're like Mother Teresa or Dalai Lama, fucking imperfect, fucking perfect living beings that have never made a mistake. And I'm like, you motherfuckers are wild, because every single person I've ever met has done some dumb ass shit in their life, and we're just fucking humans, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching on my Facebook, I was scrolling down the timeline the other day, and there's quite a few bands that have almost broken up because this political shift, it's getting in these bands and it's pushing some of these dudes away from each other, and they're forgetting that it was so much deeper than what someone thinks. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like it's really important to understand where people are coming from, even if it's somebody that you 1000% disagree with. You have to understand that person that you disagree with thinks that they're 100% right. You both have the same sort of feeling going on here. So, some things you need to approach with a little bit of empathy and understanding. That doesn't mean you have to agree with it, and it doesn't mean that you have to forgive any shitty things that they've done. But I think there's a dramatic lack of understanding that a lot of people are willing to have, and it makes it when people are oh, I can't believe somebody would say this or somebody would do that, and I'm like, really, man, this stuff surprises you?
Yeah,
it's not surprising at all. You just have no understanding of how these people work.
Right. Everybody's different too. Some people have a real hard understanding that people are completely different from you. You know what I mean? There's very few times do you meet someone that's dead on right with you.
Yeah.
And if you live life thinking that people who don't think like you are wrong, you're just not going to have any friends. You know what I mean? You're gonna live kind of a in the dark life.
Yeah, dude. I feel like
disagree is bad.
I feel like the biggest political misunderstanding that most people have that I know are these motherfuckers that live in the city, grew up in the city, and have no idea what rural America is like.
Yeah.
It's so fucking, I mean, it seems like you come from a smaller town. So you probably have a better understanding of the majority of America is small towns. They're not these big fucking cities. And people that live in those small towns just operate on a different level. Their relationship with their government and the law enforcement and their neighbors is so much different than it is in big cities.
Right.
But
it is a lot different. That's how white thrash ended up white thrash. When we first came out, there was so many, people loved to pin us as, white thrash is some racist or something like that, which we don't really buy into that, because if you study us a little bit, you realize what the real deal is. But, where that came from was I lived in a city where there was two types of people. There were people that lived on this side of town and they had money and they, their parents lived together and everything was sweet. There was people that lived on this side of the town and things weren't that sweet. Now, I was persistently by old snobby, teachers constantly. I heard white trash in my name in the same sentence many a times. And I just kind of embraced it. I was just kind of like, white thrash, you know what I mean? And racism wasn't, it was more of a money thing.
Sure.
That was how I perceived it as a kid. It was, you had money or you didn't, and everybody was kind of lumped into the same group in my city. It was like, if you lived on Cleveland Road and on that side of town, you were trash. If you lived on this side, you were whatever. And that's what my neck of the woods, we were just white trash, and I just lumped onto white thrash, and it's different in every city, like you say. You know what I mean? It's different how people perceive things. Now in big cities, it's a whole different rap.
Yeah, everything operates so much differently, and I feel like, I don't know. It's just, again, like back when, again, this is probably the last thing on top of this, but I want to tie this into the metal scene because there's actually a really interesting branch here. But like, back whenever, Trump won, people were like surprised, and I just wasn't surprised at all because I was like, the majority of America that's what it is people that are into those ideals that he was talking about at the time. Right. They're not these big city, like, progressive ideal sort of things. It's like a lot of just simple people that don't want things to change. They want things to be very simple and whatever, good for them. I'm not a huge supporter of having Donald Trump as our president. I don't think he's a very presidential person.
No,
but
I agree with you.
It's a little absurd.
It is absurd. I mean, to me, I just wish there was a better way we could do it all without there being two parties. You know what I mean? I wish there was a way that we could all just meet a common ground and keep it moving, right a lot of these wrongs that have been going on for a while, and just keep it moving. But that's easier said than done, and it takes more people to kind of think like that, which is hard to do.
Dude, you have motherfuckers that can't even get over their own ego to wear a mask to go into a fucking Sunoco.
Right.
How do you think that you're going to expect them to, drop the ego to empathize with other people on an even deeper level?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not smart enough to understand how it works, but I'm down for the cause. Whatever I got to do, you let me know. But,
yeah, that's right.
But it's funny how this ties into metal to some degree, because I don't know if you've come across this, but there are more than enough people in the local metal scene that are just like insufferable.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like having fun. Yeah. And it's really funny to me, and I've said this 10,000 times, so I apologize for anyone that's heard me say this before, but it's like, if we were in high school, we all would have sat at the same lunch table together. We all would have been homies. Right. And like now it's like, why can't we fucking cheers a beer and play shows together without it being this weird fucking like ego dick swinging contest?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I've dealt with that a lot. You know what I mean? And I've been playing music for a while now. I've been that dude before, and it took me getting older to realize what kind of harshness that does to you, It's I don't know if it's an artist thing or because I don't really think it's that. I almost think that some of these dudes get wrapped up in this imaginary competitiveness. We had a band tell us they had more Facebook likes. Why are we playing later than them? And I was like, I don't know. I don't decide that. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't, we just showed up and we play when they tell us to play. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's weird. I can't act like that musician who's never had a gripe, because I have, but there's definitely some ones that are just like, really, dude? Like, okay,
Yeah, I think that when I was younger, I was probably a little bit more. I probably had my moments as well. I think it's just something that comes with like age and being in this for so long, and just kind of like, dude, like I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care how many fucking Facebook likes you have versus what we have. You know what I mean? Like, we're both playing the same fucking 45 cap room right now. You know what I mean? Like,
let's
get fucking over yourself, dude. Like, God damn.
Let's just shred. You know what I mean?
Fuck, dude. So, you know, moving forward here in the future, probably going to wrap this up here in a minute. Do you want to do any sort of shout outs for your band or anything that's coming up, or any homies you want to shout out?
We're playing August 1st, Horrid Fest at the Subalpine with Nunslaughter and Horrid Ordeal. They've been a death metal band around Pittsburgh forever. Leprosy's playing there. They've been death metal band forever. It's a great festival. We played it last year. There's vendors. There's, it's cool. And I'm thinking it's going to be another cool one this year. Iron Brigade's playing. I said Horrid Ordeal, Nunslaughter, Leprosy. There's somebody else, man. I feel dumb because I can't think of it, but it's going to be a killer show. And we're going to try and get around as much as possible. Our third album, Slam Barbecue, will be out, here soon, hopefully, before the year ends. And we're just going to keep plugging it away,
Hell yeah, dude. I hope that we fucking get to play a show together at some point in time sooner than later. We'll definitely have to fucking make it happen. And yeah, dude, I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to chat with me today and hop on last minute.
No problem, man.
I think
nice hanging out.
I think this was overdue anyway, so I'm glad it happened. It's good to just chat with you.
Hell yeah, man. It was a blast.
Dude, thank you so much. So I'm going to do an outro and then that'll be it. Cool.
All right, man. Sounds good, Brian. Thanks, brother.
You got it, dude. And that is all, folks. Thanks so much for listening. One more time, Codi Newkirk, thank you for being here. I'll be back again in a couple days with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Sykes. Start the beat 2020. Woo, woo. Thanks for listening. And we're done, my dude. That's it. Gonna fade this out. And that is a fucking podcast, man. That's it.